610 area code. Who's this?
Hey, this is Dell. How's it going, Sam?
Good. Who is this?
This is Dell,
Oh, Dell. Where are you calling from, Dell?
calling from Philadelphia.
And what's on your mind?
I just meant to call a couple weeks ago. How worried are you that Democrats the Northam victory and take the wrong lessons from it? Because he ran a kind of an establishment campaign and didn't really talk about progressive issues at all.
Is that right? Are you sure?
I saw a lot of pundits. I saw a lot of punditry saying, well, the Bernie wing is kind of obsolete because an establishment Democrat was able to win in Virginia. And I don't see a lot of progress between most of the wings of the Democratic Party. You kind of see the Jimmy Dore wing that is so absolutist, and then you see the establishment wing that just wants to focus on kind of identity politics exclusively and doesn't really care about economics.
Well, here, let me. I would love if I could meet the concept of learning a lesson from an election in a dark alley. I would love to shiv it and make it die, because that's not how it works. I think, look, Northam was probably the most progressive candidate for governor, Democrat from Virginia in ages, which is not that progressive, right? I mean, let's be honest with it. The issue is that there are people who keep getting the jobs, okay, that consultants. He ran a bad campaign. I think everybody agreed on that. And you had such a broad-based win there, like anywhere from a DSA candidate who had no backing, who had less than no backing from the state Democratic Party, to Northam. It was so across the board that I don't.
To the transgender candidate.
Yeah, I just think that, where the lesson was, be local. I think the idea is, and I think probably the big underreported story is, and I can't even confirm that this is the case, but I know that I personally have attended 3 different all women's ad hoc groups in the wake of the election in Manhattan and Brooklyn.
I bet you'll have.
Where they were raising money to adopt assembly races in states around the country. Virginia was undoubtedly, I don't know who got the money. I don't know how widespread it was, but if I attended 3 of those, people I had no idea, I don't know how they got to me. Somebody sent me an email, said you might be interested in this. I got to imagine that's happening around the country, and that one of the points of this was, we're going to raise this money, and because we don't exist as any type of formal institution, it's going to go under the radar. And so I think I think then, rather than worry about Democrats in general getting learning a lesson, that doesn't happen in the real world. That does not happen. It's just, what happens is that people take positions of power, and when they do, they spread that power around and resources to people who are like-minded. And so the idea is to just keep working on getting people who are like-minded within the sort of arena in which you're operating, right? I mean, obviously, you're not going to go and say, we're going to do this, we're going to take over the Republican Party. That would be silly, because there's no chance for people to come in and take the Republican Party.
Right.
But there are people to come in and take positions of power in the party apparatus. If Keith Ellison had won that race for head of the DNC, I know the people that he would have hired, I don't know. I'm not speaking about Keith Ellison. I don't know that he's particularly competent at anything or not. It doesn't matter. I know the people that he would have brought in and hired, and with the resources, what they could have done with those resources. And, look, there's 437 people who made that, but maybe it was 537 or something like that. It's not hard to become those people. Some are harder than others, but for the most part, it's not hard to become those people.
I would read a piece in Washington Post. I'll find it for you. But it's by Doug Sosnick, who is an advisor to Bill Clinton. And he wrote a piece called "The Left Has Already Won," in the sense that, from a more traditional Democratic perspective, and he's actually generally pretty supportive of this. He's one of these guys who I think was sort of more on the right with the Clinton era because he thought it was politically necessary versus his actual politics. But he's like, look, in 2020, and we've said this a million times, even the most establishment, corporate-oriented Democrat is going to need to be significantly to the left of where Hillary Clinton was in 2016 or where Barack Obama was in 2012. So the plate's already shifting, and Northam's actually a good example of that because he did say, so I thought the sanctuary comment was disgusting, and he did vote for Bush, and he was definitely not some great progressive, but he ran on expanding health care and free college. I mean, that's a liberal campaign. And Terry McAuliffe is one of the biggest pieces of garbage in American politics. But his record as governor of Virginia was expanding health care and voting rights. I mean, look, the results speak for themselves, man. Don't get too in your head about it. If you met the concept of learning
I would wrestle it.
If you shivved it,
I would do a swoop. I'll tell you how I would do it.
Do you think it would learn a lesson?
I appreciate
if you did that.
Do it? No, that's the point.
You would just kill it.
I don't teach lessons.
You just teach that.
I kill it. Thanks for the call. What I would do is
big words from a Jew.
Yes, he just did that for you guys. You know that, right?
Nice. That was absolutely for you. I was like, how are we going to bring that in?
I would do a leg sweep. I would drop it down to the ground, and then I would shiv it.
In the real world, Samantha, Thai ball videos from the 90s don't work.
I'll tell you something. In the 90s, the videos I had were me breaking boards. I was a brown belt.
With Thai ball?
Now I can't even lift my
legs.
I can't even walk steps anymore.
You can't walk steps?
No.
Now I go from mocking to concerned. You got to do some yoga, man.
No. Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos